at the town of Westford for an update on the curbside recycling and trash collection. I'm just going to give it one moment. We're having a lot of people log in on Zoom, so we'll just get started in one moment. So welcome to Westford's Curbside Recycling and Trash Collection Open Forum. We have about 4 people in the room with us this evening. Thank you for joining us. And right now we have about 7 people online. This is being recorded by WestfordCAT, so it should be rebroadcast through your cable networks. I'm Kristen Last, the town manager with the town of Westford. I'm here with Mike Edwards, the assistant town manager for strategic operations. We are grateful to have 3 members of the Recycling Commission with us this evening in order to facilitate this discussion. So we have a brief 10-minute presentation that we'd like to give. The slides are up right now. We can get these slides on our website tomorrow. I will start this, and then at the end, we'll certainly have time for questions and answers for people. And if we don't have an answer, we'll certainly take your name and information and get that out to the entire group. So you want to go to the next slide, Mike? So some of you may have seen from flyers that are going out around town, news flashes that we have, and other things that we have. One moment, we're just having one.
Do I need to be remade the host?
You are the host. Try that. We're just trying to advance the slide. You want to reshare your screen? Just take the USB out and see. Again, thank you for bearing with us. We are having changes to our recycling and trash collection program effective July 1st. We have an overview this evening that will talk a little bit more about the program, about our current existing conditions, and what we will see moving forward in the future. We promised this worked when we tested it earlier today.
Worked 20 minutes ago.
So I'm just going to start talking from the slides until we get this up. And again, we'll get this up on our website tomorrow. So as an overview, we'll be talking about why our curbside collection is changing, the overview of the new contract, who will be with E.L. Harvey for trash, recycling, bulk items, and white good collections, curbside enforcement, and customer service. We'll be talking about the next steps that we'll be taking in the process, and then again, like I said before, question and answers at the end. We also have some other opportunities if you have friends and family who can't make it to this opportunity. Thank you, Mike.
We're good.
Awesome. So I want to just jump to the next slide. So why is our curbside collection changing within the town of Westford? So the past 5 years, we have been with Waste Management for our recycling contract. For many, many years, I believe over 35 years, we've been with Acme Waste for our trash and white good processing and our bulk waste pickup. Both of those contracts are expiring on June 30th. We went out to bid as is good practice with mass procurement. Acme Waste decided not to bid the contract this year as their owner is retiring from the business. Waste Management did bid on the contract, but it was not favorable. And E.L. Harvey did bid with a much more favorable bid than that. We also are reviewing the recommendations that came out of the Budget Task Force work that was issued in October of 2023, that our goals are to reduce our waste, to reduce our tipping costs. We have 17% more trash when compared to other municipalities. We also have bulk waste item collection fees that are $5 per item that are extremely low compared to other municipalities or those who are on private collection. And we hope to reach some additional sustainability goals by diversion of the materials from the waste stream. We want to encourage people to put their bulk waste other places. The select board has increased the bulk waste sticker fee from $5 to $15 effective July 1st, and we'll be going into more detail of what that means for the residents. So right now I'm going to turn this over to Mike Edwards, as he's been on the contract day to day, hour for hour, and has a lot of the details. And Mike will take you through the overview of the contract and then some of the changes that we'll be seeing moving forward.
Thanks, Kristen. And George, I told you I wasn't really good at the technology side of things, so as you just witnessed. But so we've been working to finish up the contract. We're almost at a point where we're ready to sign it. We've got just a few more little details to work out, but we have every confidence it's gonna go through. So it is a 5-year contract. And what I'd like to do is just kind of give a really brief overview, and then I'm going to go into a lot of these things specifically as we walk through the rest of this, both to try to inform everybody about the piece of the contract, but also to answer a lot of the questions that we've seen online, that we've had from residents, and address that. So first and foremost, and probably most importantly, is the calendar is not going to change. The days are not going to change. Now, the way they run the routes could change. We can't dictate to them how they run them, so there's a good chance that people's times will change. So what's important there, you have to have your items out curbside at 7 a.m. If you're used to them coming at 10 and you get it out at 9:50, that might be a problem. So get in the habit of getting them out at 7 every day until they get comfortable with those routes. They know exactly where they're running, and that's really important to make sure we get everything out at 7. E.L. Harvey, they're handling everything for us from here on out. So they'll be doing our trash, they're doing our recycling, they're doing all the bulk items, the stuff we currently do with both the white good collection and the green sticker that our residents are accustomed to. So all that is going through E.L. Harvey, but there's some pretty significant changes in the way we're handling a few of those items, in particular the bulk and the white goods. In terms of recycling, no changes. We are not making any changes to amounts. It's still unlimited type. It's still a biweekly pickup. So we're looking to encourage recycling as much as we can, and you'll see that with some of the other changes that we have in the contract, is they are encouraging diverting things away from the waste stream, which is obviously good from a sustainability perspective, but also it reduces the town's tipping fees. We're going to be really focusing on the enforcement of the existing policies that we have in place. We have had policies by the select board on barrel limits and mandatory recycling for a number of years. We'd like to make sure that we're getting a full enforcement of those and encouraging good behavior by really everybody, including our contractor. Another big piece, and this is, I think, really important, especially over the last couple of months with recycling, we're going to have live local customer service. E.L. Harvey maintains a center out of Westboro that's going to be handling all of our calls. From this point on, from July 1st on, if you have an issue with customer service, you will call them and they will handle it. If they don't, call us. We'll take care of it, and we'll have some information on that on the website just to keep everybody up to date with exactly what's going on. What also we'll be getting with this is their call center's open longer than town hall, so you'll pick up an extra hour in the evening, and you'll pick up a Saturday time frame. So a little bit more to come on that in a few slides. But wanted to really hit the changes on recycling first. And the key thing, there are no changes. It's staying exactly the same as what it is, with the exception of the way we're handling toter purchases. I'll talk a little bit about that. But the most important thing on recycling is we want to do more of it. The more recycling we do, the lower our tipping fees are. The lower our tipping fees are, the lower the tax burden is that covers recycling and trash collection. We aren't at a point, and this is true for most municipalities, where we make money on recycling. Commodity prices are just not quite there. So we still do pay for recycling, but on a ton per ton basis, it is significantly less expensive than what we see on the solid waste side. So we do want to encourage people to go to the Recycling Commission's website, ask members of the Recycling Commission, go to them for information on how to get stuff out of the waste stream and into either repurposed use, recycled use, donated use, composting, all kinds of great opportunities out there. The number one question we've had about this has been about containers. You do not have to purchase new containers. You can continue using the containers that you have for recycling. They'll still pick up really anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be an automated cart. It can be a regular cart. It can be a bucket. It can be a laundry basket. It can be pretty much whatever you've got, and whatever you're using now is acceptable. The only thing you cannot use are plastic bags. So no plastic bags for your containers. Currently, we have 64-gallon carts available. E.L. Harvey is going to make 95-gallon carts available for delivery, purchased directly through them if you want them. That gives you a little bit more capacity. They're a little bit, rather than moving 2 carts, you're moving 1. If you have multiple carts now, the price that they're set for our residents is $90. They'll deliver it. They're heavy-duty carts, should have a pretty good lifespan on them. They're also going to be helping us with a lot of our different events. So one of the things that we have in the contract is them to participate in several of our events and provide recycling and solid waste support at those events. But they're also going to be offering an annual shredding event for us at no charge for our residents. And we'll figure out exactly which event we want to try to pair that up with in the future, working with the Recycling Commission to make sure that's of the most benefit to our residents as we can. I know that the Recycling Commission has been hard at work working on their annual mailer, the calendar that we've had several questions about when is it coming. I want to put it up on my refrigerator. Still a really popular item that will be hitting mailboxes by the end of the month, probably the last week of the month, early part of that week. So it's in process right now. This is a cost fully covered by E.L. Harvey. They're taking care of it. They're taking care of all the design. Obviously, our Recycling Commission is driving the content that goes into that. So that really is not changing, but there will be some new information on it as far as where you go for information, for fees, for anything like that. Where we do have some minor changes is in our curbside trash collection. And I would say these are relatively minor in terms of what our policies state now, because we're going to be enforcing the limits that are currently in place. That has not exactly always been the case, from my understanding, in the past, as far as what people put out for residential collection. We are limiting it to 3 containers per household, which has been in place for a number of years through select board action. We are taking that one step further and building on some guidance that the Recycling Commission has put out, and using those 3 gallons to establish, or those 3 containers to establish a gallon limit per household. Essentially, it is 3 32-gallon containers per household. So that is a limit that will be enforced moving forward. As far as containers, and this is where we have had the most questions, we have really 2 different ways that we're looking at containers. Containers that are designed for automated use, they can go up to 95 gallons. Now, do the math, because basically that's 1 container. You're subject to one or really both of those limitations, so there's a couple of different combinations of container types that'll get you there, but those are our 2 driving factors, primarily those 2 plus a weight limit of 50 pounds per container, loaded. So that means your container plus your item, unless it is designed for automated use. And I'll show some pictures of what those look like so you understand the difference. Any container that's not designed for automated use is limited to 50 pounds. That is an OSHA requirement, and that is a requirement of our hauler to prevent injuries to their workers. We have no requirement on container type. We had initially talked with the hauler about limiting trash to container only. This presented a few issues for a number of our residents, and after talking with the hauler, got to the point where we are going to recognize a sturdy sealing bag as a container. So if you have a bag, that is acceptable. It has to be able to be tied, and it cannot be overloaded it cannot exceed 50 pounds, and it has to be a bag that is sturdy enough to hold the weight that is in it. So jamming a bunch of kitty litter in a, Glad kitchen bag that breaks in the bottom, that's not going to work, and they're going to reject items like that. So if your combination of your current containers meets those limits, you don't need to go out and buy anything different, which basically means nobody should have to go buy anything different unless they're currently putting things out in something that is just wildly unacceptable, like a pile. But I don't think we've got a whole lot of issues from what I've seen residents submit that tells me we have an issue with the current containers. But we wanted to make it very, very clear, we're not asking people to buy new containers. We will be looking at that in the next year, but we wanted to wait until we knew exactly where we wanted to go with a more automated collection so that we can say these are the containers, and people don't go out and buy something now that might change. So that's an important thing that we want to make sure people really understand. No requirement on container type as long as it meets those three pieces. So like I said, we're evaluating containers. We'll see where it goes. This is based on what the Budget Task Force has recommended, so we'll be looking at this from a budget standpoint and evaluating that over the next fiscal year. So here's some examples of containers. These are ones that are suitable for automated use. You'll notice they're the hard plastic, they've got the hinge lid, they've got wheels. If you can sit on it and it collapses, it's not designed for automated use. These are made to be grabbed with the arm and put in the back of the truck. All these trucks that they're going to be running are dual compartment, dual chambered trucks, so they're going to be collecting trash and recycling in one grab. When they do that, if it's a manual, they'll get out and they'll go dump stuff, but if it's one of these carts, they'll grab it and they'll empty it with the arm. If we move to an automated type collection, this is the type of cart we would be getting, but these are the only carts that can exceed 50 pounds in weight. These are our containers that are suitable for manual collection. The one thing I would point out is, so your metal container, that's fine, those are relatively lightweight. The second one with the sticker on it, that's your typical Home Depot round container, 32, 35 gallon. That type of container is very lightweight, relatively flimsy. They're not going to pick those up automated. The other one's another kind of a light duty residential container. Obviously you got your trash bag. In terms of bags being out, we would prefer to see something that is like that is much more sturdy, because we don't want animals getting in these things. We do not want them to get torn up. We don't want litter all over the road, because then we have a different problem that we have to deal with. This last one is one I would point out. There's a lot of people that have these containers, and you'll hear them referred to as contractor barrels. Those already weigh about 30 pounds empty. So if you have one like that, you're welcome to use it. When you put 20 pounds of garbage in it, it's probably approaching the limit. So I'd be very careful with those types of containers because they already are so heavy. We have seen a few of those out. We know some people use them. Those are the type and the style that we would caution people against using, just because it does impact that weight limit. And if they will not collect it at those limits. So here's another area that we've got significant changes pretty much all around. And those of you who watch our select board meetings on a regular basis saw some presentations in the past from the Recycling Commission, and then a discussion more recently with the Town Manager's Office and the Recycling Commission making some recommendations around bulk sticker fees. So the changes to the bulk collection program are really a combination of what the select board passed with the increased fee, but also limitations that our contractor has placed on us because of what they can and can't collect with the equipment that they have. And that's a big thing for people to understand, because that does come with added costs if you get above the limits of what they will collect curbside. So I'm going to kind of walk through this one at a time. The current green stickers that we have, those are going to change effective July 1st. We're ordering new stickers that are going to be the $15 stickers per the select board policy, and those will be available just like they were before at Town Hall, at the clerk's office, and also at some of our area vendors. They're most likely going to be yellow. I'm verifying that right now because I want to make sure they contrast very well with some of the other stickers that the vendor will be using, but they most likely will be these yellow stickers. you'll be able to go to our website and get more information on it. And we have created a new website, the westfordma.gov recycling-trash, that kind of is going to gather up all the information related to the curbside collection and also funnel people to the Recycling Commission's website for some additional information. But back to the stickers. These stickers are still, they have value, so if you have one, don't throw it away. They can be returned to the clerk's office. If a resident has already purchased one, they can bring it back to the clerk's office and get credit of that $5 towards a $15 sticker. There's no cash refunds associated with that, and we do need to have all those refunded by August 1st because we are trying to make a kind of a clean swap over on this program. The same thing goes for any retailers that buy them in bulk. They will get a credit based on what they pay for them on new stickers. But again, it's not a refund. We'll issue a credit. So don't worry about it if you have stickers out there. Just get them back to us at the end of the month. As far as what's collected under this sticker, and this is a big change from where we are now. Right now, you can put a couch out for $5. That's generated an enormous amount of additional cost for us and an enormous amount of additional waste. And in a lot of cases, we find that a lot of these items still have value, or they could be recycled for free. That's where we would say, go to the Recycling Commission's website and see all the information. Virtually everything that you come across has some way of being repurposed, recycled, composted, donated, all the other ways that they have to keep things out of our waste stream, which keeps it out of our tipping fees, which keeps it out of your taxes. So that's an important thing, is this sticker now, because it is still going to be a once a week collection, one item per household, they have to be under 50 pounds. They've got to be an item that would normally be accepted within the waste stream but simply won't fit in your barrel. So small pieces of furniture, chairs, things like that. Extra bags of household garbage can apply for this too, can use this sticker. You can go to our website. We've got a full list of what's acceptable and what's not. I think right now it's all on the Recycling Commission's website. We're going to be going through that and making sure that we have up-to-date information. Basically, we follow the state's waste ban list of what is acceptable for transport to incineration facilities. So if you have specific questions on the items that are bulk items that will qualify for that sticker, come to the website. We've got the information right there. So they've got to be under 50 pounds. They've got to be able to be loaded by a single individual. And you get one a week and one per household. And it's the $15 sticker. So when we get over that, E.L. Harvey has given us a fee table and a fee proposal to collect larger items. Now, a lot of these are the items that would have been previously collected for the $5. And again, so many of these items are recyclable. So many of them are reusable or still in good condition. And as Kristen noted earlier, one of the big issues we had with the existing fee is it really disincentivized recycling and donation. It was so easy for somebody to get rid of something very large, very bulky, that had value or could be recycled. So that's one of the major reasons for the change. Plus, we would have had to pay for this service additional because this wouldn't be covered under the regular curbside collection that E.L. Harvey provides. So what they've given us are the fees you see right there. We've gotten them to agree to fees moving out for the next 5 years. And you'll see that it goes anywhere from $40 up to $100 for an item. Now, these items they're part of our curbside collection program, but they're not. They are basically through E.L. Harvey. E.L. Harvey will keep these out of our tipping fees. They will keep these out of our recycling calculations. These are their items to dispose of, to recycle, etc. But before you do anything with these items, it's a lot cheaper to donate it or reuse it or recycle it. So go to the town's website, go to the Recycling Commission's website and get information. They have a lot of information for how to reuse, recycle just about anything that's out there. So this is representative of the cost to dispose of these items, but it also has a really good added benefit of hopefully encouraging more recycling and pulling these things out of our tipping fee charges in the waste stream. The other category on the bulk stuff and the bigger stuff are these white goods. So this is your bulk metal, your grills, your old lawnmowers, refrigerators, old televisions, things like that. So you'll see that these are, again, by calling, paying a fee, and scheduling this with E.L. Harvey. These pickups, just like the additional bulk stuff, may not be on your regular collection day. You'll have to arrange this with E.L. Harvey, but again, they've got this customer service center that's open longer than Town Hall. You'll be able to make payments on, I'm not 100% sure that they're online fully yet, but you'll be able to do payments over the phone. So your options for being able to get this service are greatly increased over what they are now, especially for the white goods where you have to come into Town Hall to buy a sticker. So we've got we will have by tomorrow the fees posted to our website as well. But again, with these and with everything else, especially, the metal items, for example, so many of the items that fall under this can be easily donated, recycled, or sent off to some other type of processing facility at generally no cost to the resident other than a little bit of time. So we would encourage people, before they call that 800 number, go to Westford's Recycling Commission website and find out what else they can do with some. Excuse me. So the other big piece, and this will be a change for our residents, especially on the trash side, is we have built into this contract a number of enforcement mechanisms on the contractor, holding them responsible for the waste they collect, holding them responsible for enforcing our mandatory recycling. So as such, they're going to be enforcing what they collect curbside on households. So it works both ways, because on the back end, they potentially can get fined by us as well as the disposal facility if they have unacceptable waste. So one of the ways that they do this is their trucks are heavily cameraed. They have 7 cameras in each truck. They're able to basically pull up and see, do we have a missed collection? Was their bin out on time? Is there unacceptable waste? Do we have large things that don't have stickers? So that hopefully will help us with the customer service side of things and help us deal with issues of missed collection or any other questions that come up from that contractor-customer interaction. But it's also going to protect the residents, because one of the things that we deal with, unfortunately, is occasional damage to property that may happen from the vendor. We'll have access to that information. So this protects everybody all around. It protects the town, it protects the residents, it protects the contractor. When they do have an incident of unacceptable waste, they'll place a rejection sticker. So you see we've got the green ones for the trash, and the yellow is supposed to be orange, so that's why I'm not sure about what color our bulk waste sticker is going to be yet, but those are going to be the stickers that they'll post on things. They'll check what they were missing. If it's an other category, they'll write it down, so people will know exactly why something was rejected. And of course, they can call E.L. Harvey with any questions that they might have, and hopefully come to some kind of a solution on it. So that's our enforcement piece, and we expect between the bulk waste sticker changes and the changes on the trash side collection, we're anticipating seeing some reduced tipping fees. And so we'll see how that plays out over the next year, but I think every indication is from the data that we will see that based on what our history and our trends have been. Lastly, we're going to have some significant customer service improvements, and the last couple months have been rough on recycling. So this will it will be better for the customer, but we're spending an enormous amount of staff time dealing with recycling calls right now, missed recycling pickups. So this is a good thing all around. It provides wider access, ways to email, guarantees in the contract of the turnaround time to deal with these things. This is a strong improvement over what we have for customer service right now, mostly because of the expanded access and the ability for us to hold the contractor accountable for providing that service in the manner that we expect. They're going to maintain a dedicated website for Westford residents that will have both links to our sites, but also a lot of the information on the fees. I was told they're also working on an app and some other things that will allow people to kind of track the trucks and stuff like that. So we'll see what new stuff they come out with, but immediately we'll have our own town website through E.L. Harvey. And then, of course, if your issue's not resolved or you have questions, call us or call the Recycling Commission. We're always available to answer questions on this stuff, and we're happy to do it. But we're also very grateful that we've got E.L. Harvey to step in and handle the customer service. And really, everything we've heard from their current customers it backs that up. They do a good job, and it's local people. Their office is in Westboro, and they will take all their calls from that location. So customer service, we do expect to see quite a few improvements. So we do have a few things coming up next. We've got a few more public events. We're going to do on this Friday a Zoom lunch and learn that we're basically going to go over a lot of this information. Plus, if we get any questions that I didn't answer right now, we'll put that information in there too. And then for any seniors out there, we've got a delicious fried chicken lunch on the 18th at the Cameron Senior Center. So that's going to be exciting. Kristen and I will be over there to share all that information with our seniors as well. Obviously, we've still got the great mailer that's going to be coming out shortly. That should be in your mailboxes by the end of June. And then on July 1st, on a Monday, we switch over to E.L. Harvey. I will remind people that we have a holiday coming up right after that, so we will have a delayed collection immediately after starting. And I think it's also important to let people know there are going to be learning curves on both sides. Our residents are going to adapt to the new structure as far as what they're allowed to put out, how they handle the bulk stuff. We get that. But we also ask, the contractor's going to be learning new routes. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get really good at this stuff. Everything we've heard from their other clients, they get really good at it. But we do expect some issues to come up in the front end of it. And just ask for your patience and understanding on that. But again, if anything's missed, call them and let them know, because that's part of their learning process too, is to understand what they're missing. And it's a big town. We've got a lot of private drives. We have some shared driveways. There's going to be a little bit of time as the drivers get acclimated to the routes and start understanding what they're exactly where everything is and figure out the best way to perform their collection. Lastly, I mentioned earlier, they will have recycling toters available for purchase. If you want, you're welcome to get it. You don't have to get it. If you want to get one, that's an option, and they will deliver it to you. So you just call that same 800 number that's on their site, and they will bring you out a 95-gallon toter. Brand new. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. So we do have, for more information, we've got E.L. Harvey's website posted up there. I don't have our new site's extension, but I believe it's going to be /Westford, but I wanted to leave it off until I knew for sure. We've got our site, which is the westfordma.gov /recycling-trash. We've got our QR code that takes you to that site. So, that's on all of our printed materials that you see out there. And from there, you're also one click away from the Recycling Commission's website, where you have just a wealth of information on diversion. And then lastly, if none of those things answer your questions, call us. We're happy to talk, or call one of the members of the Recycling Commission. We got a few of them here with us tonight, and I'm sure a few others online. So with that, I'd open it up to questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. We do have a few questions online, so I'll run through those, and then if anybody wants to raise their hand, we can allow you to talk or use the Q&A function online. We also have people in the room, so we may have some of that, but I'll start with the online questions that have come in already. So one of the questions is, what happens with the brown recycling toters that we currently have? Those are for recycling. As Mike said several times, I just want to remind people, as it may not have been clear, you may use any of the toters for recycling that you currently have, including those brown recycling toters. Then another question came in, how do we or E.L. Harvey know how much an item weighs if it is 50 pounds or more?
Well, they're not going to be exactly guessing your weight like at a carnival. they're going to use their judgment. Their drivers and their collectors have been doing this for a while. They have a good understanding of how something feels. Are they going to reject you at 52 pounds? No. Are they going to know if it's 49 and you got a little bit extra you could throw in there? No. If it's 60 pounds, 70 pounds, they're going to reject you. It's not going to be an exact science. Nobody is going to get out there with a scale. We don't have the technology available at this budget. It will be a bit of judgment. Now, I would say that one thing that's important about this, if you leave it out overnight and it rains, you need to put a lid on it because water is very heavy. So that will add weight to your container. So be very careful with that, especially if you have things like kitty litter in the container or things that will absorb. So the short answer is they're not going to know if it's exactly 50 pounds, but they're going to know if it's close. Elizabeth, yes. Yep.
Yes.
Hi, Elizabeth Sawyer, Holly Lane, member of the Recycling Commission. And in my conversations with people, I've found that one piece of information that's been helpful for putting this in context is the difference in how the trucks are staffed. That Acme had a driver, or has a driver, and I believe at least 2 other people on the back of the truck. And that makes it possible, even though it was sometimes in violation of the rules we had hoped residents would follow, they had the physical strength to lift a lot more weight. But that the E.L. Harvey trucks are going to have just a driver, correct?
Correct.
Who has to get out and single-handedly
Yes.
do that lifting. And so that starts to put some context around the weight limit there.
Yeah, that's a great point, Elizabeth, and I appreciate you bringing that up because that really does drive the way that the bulk process was handled and the way that the limits were handled. If we opted for unlimited size and larger items, we would be paying not just the additional tipping fees, but we would also be paying the additional labor costs of laborers on the backs or inside these trucks. These are single operator trucks. The operator does the collection. Where possible, they are going to use arms to grab things. Where it's not, they're getting out and they're throwing it in. So all these things over time, the more we can move towards fully automated collection, the lower our costs are going to be. We're not going to find another contract like we had with Acme where you have that level of labor at that cost. So as we move forward, the industry is simply moving towards fully automated collection. So that's a great point. I think that's important to keep in mind. I mean, if you have a lot of trouble lifting a cart, the operator is going to have that trouble too.
So the next question we have is, can you please mention the change of if there's a size and acceptable cardboard for recycling? So this resident noted that in the E.L. Harvey stickers for recycling, it says 2x2 for cardboard. I believe we were talking about 3x3. Can you clarify that for this resident?
3x3 is what we have currently in our policies. What we've talked about with E.L. Harvey is we don't want any changes to recycling. And so how it's collected now is how it's going to continue to be collected. It's possible that sometime in the future, if we move to a more cart-based system, we may look at changing that. But right now, the way things were listed in the original request for proposals is we had that 3x3 and we had items maintained the same way they were. You'll notice on that, I'm assuming somebody saw that on the rejection sticker that was in there.
Correct.
Those are kind of standard rejection stickers that they have. You'll notice it was also, the item wasn't in a cart. They're not going to check those items because they don't apply to us.
Diane, did you have something that you wanted to, if you wouldn't mind coming to the mic just so everyone can hear you. Thank you.
Probably a silly question. What do we do with our old barrels? For example, we have one with a broken wheel on it. We were replacing it anyway, so it's sitting now in the backyard.
Is it a toter or a barrel?
It's a barrel, and has 2 wheels, no cover, something like, along those lines.
You must have ESP because George Murray also asked, how do I throw away a worn out trash can? So we'll kill two birds with one stone there.
All right, so that one's easy enough. Right now, the way that you would throw it away is using your bulk sticker fee.
Okay.
In the future, the way that you would throw it away is using your bulk sticker fee unless it is recyclable. So you can check on your cart or on your barrel and see, is it a numbered recycle? And then I would contact the Recycling Commission and ask them what options they might have. Elizabeth, you have any idea what somebody could do with a barrel? Bulk sticker would be what we could do.
We can double check, but I'm afraid that even though some things have numbers on them, they don't align with the market of what is allowed as curbside recycling. So we'll double check and make sure our online information is as current as possible. But I'm afraid the sad news is if you can't offer it up for creative reuse in some other capacity than recycling, it's probably going to be a trashed item.
Yeah, well, then that's where the bulk sticker fee would come in.
Thank you. And one other just point of information regarding the shredding. Is that only going to be annually once a year, or might there be an opportunity to extend that?
Under this contract, once a year.
Okay.
We're currently not doing it as part of any of
Right.
the contracts, so.
Right, and I say that because the Rotary, and you may know this, the Rotary does sponsor a yearly shredding event anyway, and believe it or not, there's a huge demand. There's a huge demand for recycling everything, or shredding, or, getting rid.
Yeah, I think there's probably a really good opportunity to have that conversation with any other entities in town that are doing these alongside the Recycling Commission and let them kind of co-market things. I mean, the goal is the same, to shred and
Exactly.
recycle, so.
And make sure the timing
It's
bring
different.
Yeah,
in funds,
yeah.
so we're not duplicating. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I would throw that over to the Recycling Commission and Elizabeth and see what can we do to make sure these are well coordinated.
Yes, we are trying to make one in the fall because the Rotaries is usually in the spring. So we are already trying to consider that. And I'll also note that shredded paper, unfortunately, cannot go in your recycling bin. That shortcut paper is low value, but when it is done in volume and a whole truck is filled with shredded paper, it can be recycled. So one of the benefits, in addition to preserving your confidentiality of taking part in shredding events, is that then that material is in fact being recycled because it can be baled, and then the volume of that shortcut paper has at least some value.
Thank you.
And I didn't know that, so that's a good, thank you for that, too. That's great.
So the next question is, does E.L. Harvey only sell the 95-gallon toters for trash, or can we purchase smaller ones for them? So right now, they are going to be selling the 95-gallon toters for recycling
Correct.
only. Do you want to talk a little bit more about trash toters or
Yes.
trash carts?
So they stock currently a 64-gallon container. That's an excellent quality container. They are absolutely willing to sell you that container to use for your trash. We are not telling people do that or don't do that because we simply don't know where we're going with carts. And we don't want people to do something based on our guidance. And then if we change and say, let's just say it's a 62-gallon cart or a 48-gallon cart or something different, but you are welcome on your own to purchase a cart from E.L. Harvey and they'll deliver it. You just call that 800 number. They have no problem selling their goods.
Do you have any other questions from the room? Barbara?
I'm Barbara Terrio, work with the Recycling Commission. I was wondering how much data we will get at the town level about their rejection stickers, their pickups, the questions that come into the call center. What is that going to be like?
There is an entire section in the contract that I'm putting the final touches on right now that is all in the reporting requirements. So they actually are required to provide us regular reports, data on collections, on volume. We get currently, even with waste management, we do get, all of our commodity reports and our recycling reports. I don't believe we get very good information on compliance, and on the enforcement side, we get nothing in terms of reporting from under our Acme contract, except our ultimate tipping fees. With E.L. Harvey, we've got just a list of information that they are required to provide us under that contract, and they want that information themselves. They're a data-driven company, so yes, we will get much better data, much better information. We also have, and this will be of interest to the Recycling Commission, is under the contract, we do have a requirement for them to provide 2 composition audits every year. So you'll recall we did one of those several years ago with waste management. It's a pretty large undertaking to actually go out there and see, what is our volume of, rejected materials, what is the composition of all the different pieces, all the different commodities. And we'll get to do those on a semi-annual basis, and the hope is, we're sitting, about 8.6, 8.7% on that last composition audit, George? The hope is as we get better and better at this, and they get better at the enforcement, and our residents get accustomed to the new program and our information gets out there, we'll actually be able to track that, because, you know, that 8.7% we have right now, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good statewide, and 8.7% of the recycling material becomes waste. We're hoping we can keep edging that down, so we've got one more metric that we can track. So we're going to get a fair amount of data out of this.
Is this a weekly, bi-weekly?
No, well, the composition audit's once every 6 months.
That one,
We're talking
yes.
about the
but
other
as
the
far as
regular
Like a
reports-
monthly.
Regular reporting.
We've got regular reporting on a monthly basis, and
Okay.
then we've got requirements for notifications at the end of every day for rejection stickers that were issued and things like that. But I'd have to, I can get you, I'll show you the exact
Oh, that'd be
language so
good.
you understand what we see. I actually would pull some of it back and say, you know, it's more important to me from a data perspective to be able to look at batches of information, give me 30 days at a time, let me do the analysis with it, rather than just get overloaded with
Sure,
daily information. So,
Where's the MRF? Where did they have?
they're in
Westboro.
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 Yep.
So if there is an audit of some sort, would we be able to?
Yes, we're all invited to
Going
attend.
to the audit?
We're going to make a
We
day
as
out
the
of it.
recycling commission and the town staff, we don't want the entire town to show
In the
up, but
past,
yes.
when we've gone, we've had a limit of like 4 or 5 people.
There will be limits on people that can be there.
Okay.
We'll work through that when we get to
Okay.
it and make sure that, you know, we're careful about everybody. They have safety concerns, et cetera. So, and
It's
they
good
do
to
these
know
all the time. So.
about the contamination level. And that's, we're working so hard on trying to clean that up and to do better.
Yeah.
So I hope that this new era will mean we have a better record for recycling and diversion and so forth. So thank you.
Thank you. So I don't see any other questions online. Are there any other questions in the room that we can help answer? George?
George.
Just a clarification, one resident asked about the 50-pound, whether they will know, how will the resident know whether it's 50 pounds?
Well,
I mean, are there any guidelines they had, like it should be?
I mean, typically, if
The
you've got
32-gallon is full.
if you've got a contractor-style bag and it's full of regular household garbage, it's close to 50 pounds. If you've got a 32-gallon container and it's more or less full with normal residential garbage, not a load of kitty litter, not a, you know,
Battery,
not
like
a battery,
Yep,
not
which you
a
don't want in the trash
2.5
anyway.
gallon container of peanut oil from the turkey fryer. If it's regular stuff that's normally in your trash, it's going to be about 50 pounds. So those smaller 32-gallon containers, like, let's see, well, so this, whoops. That container right there, full of normal garbage, not wet soap towels and kitty litter, normal garbage, about 50 pounds. And that's not jumping up and down on it to get it totally compacted, just the normal garbage.
No, I think it's a good guideline. That way, when people ask, they can say, you know, 32-gallon full of trash, that's 50 pounds. Anything more is going to be
Yeah.
rejected.
Now, you fill that thing with trash, with the same amount of trash that's going in that, because that's a 32-gallon container also, it's going to be about 80.
Okay.
Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Westford Metals
Oh,
for
yeah.
the community that, for the rest of the community that may or may not work with them, how easy they are to work with. You just drive up and you drop your stuff off, and what you think may be collectible or not, if it has metal in it, they take. So the range is extremely broad, and people really should think twice about it, and very easy to do. Throw it in the trunk and then, you know, go. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what you're saving by going to Westford Metals or other recyclers, is this fee table right here. These are your bulk metals. They're cheaper than regular burnable trash because the recycler recognizes they have value. So there's not a whole lot of reason to use these additional bulk services and the white goods. There are ways to recycle all this stuff, and people need to go to our website and find that information. It'll save them money, it'll save us money.
Yeah, go ahead,
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth.
what you got?
Do we have a position on whether a traditional bulk item like a couch that's been dismembered with a chainsaw and shoved into a 96-gallon container is bulk waste or not? I mean, is furniture bulk waste, whether it's been reduced and shoved in a barrel or not?
I don't know that that question has come up before, and I don't know that I have the answer for it.
Yeah,
right
let's
now.
take that question and get it answered properly, and we'll get that back out.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, that's all we have for online. We don't have any other questions online. I think we're all set in the room. So again, thank you all for attending this evening. We have another Lunch and Learn on Wednesday. It's completely via Zoom, so if you want to take your lunch break and listen to us, again, this will be publicized on WestfordCAT. A lot of information on the website, a lot of information coming right to your mailbox, so please watch out for that. And again, if you have questions, we are here available. Call us. We know there'll be some, learning curves and some growing pains, but we are really excited to start this new contract and really excited to help our residents through this recycling and trash change. So thank you all for coming in person and via Zoom this evening, and have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.